recently there have been a lot of rumors, leaks for Ahsoka Season 2, The Mandalorian and Grogu film. A lot of this stuff coming from Christian Harloff. The other day, Bespin Bulletin put out a big article. They had talked about the scoop that Harloff had for Clone Wars flashbacks, Ewan McGregor, Greenblatt, I forget her first name, the actress that played young Ahsoka. She's back too. So we're going to get more Clone Wars flashbacks via Ahsoka Season 2. Okay. So Bespin comes out and says, I'm here to corroborate that. I've heard that as well. And on top of that, here's something they said in the Bespin article. And I wanted to bring this up. If I would have streamed yesterday, I would have brought this up yesterday. But check this out. From the exact Bespin article, the same source also mentioned that Ahsoka Season 2 was looking to cast an important female character for the second season, which may or may not be connected to what was calling out to Balen Skoll on Peridia. All right. So the lawyerly language here, right? May or may not. Like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing here? You wouldn't say that unless it was something that you felt was happening, but you didn't necessarily want to say. And as soon as I read this, man, I was like, oh my God, I was right. Abeloth. Okay, and here's the video, right? I linked this in there because this was a big freaking deal for me, for the community, for the channel. A year ago, but I think it's over a year ago, I made this video, and it did very well for us. 314,000 views. This video was picked up by a lot of people. I remember Eric Voss had picked this video up and was talking about it because he thought the theory was real. I think I made this video between episodes 3 and 4. No. It was after episode 6, I think. And then in episode 7 and in 8, even more evidence came out, right? So a lot of people were like, I don't know about that. But then after the Mortis gods were literally seen in the last episode, a lot of people were like, whoa, okay. So what is happening here and why is this such a big deal? Well, as I've explained before, Abeloth is a really interesting Star Wars character. She was a mortal character that came into the service of what are known as the Ones, these celestial beings that are like infinite, somewhat of a representation of aspects of like the Force, right? So the Father represents like the balance, the Son represents the dark side, and the daughter represents the light side. The Mother, as she would come to be known, was a mortal character that the son and the daughter like loved, and they wanted to keep her around forever. She eventually became old and she was going to die, and the immortal beings that would be known as the Ones were unhappy about this. As the daughter and the son are pleading with the Father to like help make the Mother immortal, Abeloth does a couple of things. Like, she drinks from this pool of knowledge and she looks into this like mirror thing, all this metaphysical stuff. She basically turns into a demon monster. The reason this is important is because the Ones and the Force itself was in balance, and in the lore of Legends, they all existed on a different planet. I don't think they called it Peridia, but it was a different planet. After Abeloth becomes the Mother, it's so bad and so scary that the Ones leave and they go to live on Mortis, which is then when Anakin has the interaction with them when Obi-Wan and them go there, right? And the thing that's crazy about Abeloth, right, is she's this supernatural force. She's very dark, very like demonic, like pure evil, absolutely terrifying what she's able to do in the Legacy of the Force novels, she starts creating a mental sickness inside different Jedi. And at first, it manifests itself as like they think everyone around them is an imposter. And they get violent towards these imposters. And it's almost like they feel like they're in the Body Snatchers movie. And everybody's been body snatched. And eventually, like, they are all attracted to Abeloth. She's looking for a host body and power and wants to destroy everything, right? Horrible, horrible, crazy thing. So the reason I made this video back in the day, and the reason I'm so excited about this, is because the character of Balen is clearly very different than a lot of things we've seen in Star Wars. And he's talking about the Jedi and the Sith and this cycle. Empire, Republic, Jedi, Sith, this conflict that'll start forever. And he speaks to wanting to go to the very start of it, all the way back to the beginning, before the fall, before that happened. And I think he's seeking power to finally end that cycle and like recreate the galaxy in a more harmonious way. Like that's the kind of power he's seeking. That all connects to the character of Abeloth. Okay? And I think the reason I'm so excited about this is Abeloth is a character that's so powerful and so threatening that she could be a piece of connective tissue between everything that is going on in Star Wars. You could even connect Abeloth to the sequel trilogy and what happened with Ben Solo. You could connect Abeloth to what happened with Mando Grogu and, you know, Grogu's whole thing. You could connect Abeloth to Rey. You could connect Abeloth to future stories. Abeloth is a thread that if they wanted to utilize it properly, she could become like a Thanos of Star Wars. Something that is pulling all the strings behind the scenes. I'm speaking of the Infinity Saga, of course, right? But like some unifying thread that can tie all other threads to and do something like truly big and epic. And so I'm bringing this up for a couple of reasons. I mean, number one, just because I think it's so damn cool, you know, and we took a shot at this theory back in the day, and I'm convinced that it is real. But also, this is a huge benefit to Star Wars. If they can actually tap into this, if they are bold enough to actually tap into this, this is like, oh, we don't have to keep going back to Palpatine. Oh, we don't have to keep falling back to the Skywalkers. We actually have this thing that's such a big deal, so much of a threat, that future generational Jedis could be fighting against her. You know, this could involve like Filoni's movie and that time period and be the reason that, I mean, not to take it too crazy, but Abeloth could actually be the explanation for Last Jedi Luke Skywalker. Okay? As it currently stands in the lore, Luke just, you know, lost his Jedi Order because his son, or his nephew rather, was, I don't know, going to be a psycho in the future. And so he almost killed him, and then it all falls apart. And basically Luke Skywalker's just really sad. If you introduce Abeloth into that story, all of a sudden it makes sense. All of a sudden, the vision that Luke had was Abeloth. All of a sudden, the thing that drove Kylo was not Palpatine, it was Abeloth. The reason that Luke walks away from being a Jedi is Abeloth. That all actually makes it make a lot more sense. It could retcon a lot of the problems of the sequel trilogy and like just bring everything together, which I'm going to be honest with you, I think is exactly what Dave is cooking. I think that is exactly what he wants to do. He wants to use this to explain everything and to set up future films which will feel like a continuation because they'll be dealing with this thing that was the big threat behind the scenes. Right? So it's pretty crazy, and, you know, look, it's still Star Wars, and who knows if it'll actually work. The damage might be done, but I wanted to bring this up sort of to toot my own horn. I think this shit is real. And I wouldn't be surprised if the plan was to really utilize the character of Abeloth. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Too crazy? Too crazy? You think it's too far? Too much? Or perfect? Or is it perfect?